To some who were confident of their own righteousness and looked down on everyone else, Jesus told this parable. Two men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee stood by himself and prayed, "God, I thank you that I am not like other people, robbers, evildoers, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week and give a tenth of all I get." But the tax collector stood at a distance. He would not even look up to heaven, but beat his breast and said, "God, have mercy on me, a sinner." I tell you that this man, rather than the other, went home justified before God. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Humility is the only recipe for prayer. We often hear that humility is knowing the truth of who you are. This is only partly correct. In my opinion, humility is knowing who God is in the midst of your successes and failures. This is why God justifies the prayer of the humble tax collector and dislikes the prayer of the righteous Pharisee. The problem with the Pharisee's prayer is more complex than what meets the eye. He was very happy with his performance that he no longer needed God. Notice that his gratitude towards God was only to serve his ego in looking down on the tax collector. He thought he was perfect. His prayer was all about him and his performance. On the other hand, the tax collector begged God for his mercy. He knew that he had failed in living up to who he's supposed to be. But rather than focusing too much on himself and his failures, he turned to God and cast his eyes on God's mercy. C.S. Lewis says that humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. Often people who have low self-esteem do not know who they truly are. This is not humility. Humble people know their greatness as well as their weaknesses and failures. More importantly, humble people know who can make them great, who can strengthen them, and who can undo their mistakes in lives. In my own journey, I used to feel so down whenever I sinned or failed. As time went on, I learned more and more to cast my eyes on God and His mercy and find hope in God during the times when I am disappointed in myself. Yes, there is humility in feeling the sorrow for my sin, but I discover that there is more humility in knowing that I am but at the mercy of God. Humility is not drowning myself in the sorrow of my sin, but waiting only in hope for God's mercy to heal my wounds. Humility is both embracing the wonder and unique giftedness of myself, as well as my brokenness and my utter reliance on God's mercy to forgive my sins.